Hello everyone and welcome back to the Perfect French with Dylane. Today is my first video of 2025, so I wanted to wish you a happy new year and all the best for 2025. Bonne année et tout le meilleur pour 2025. Today I am going to give you the list of everything you need to learn in 2025 to reach a B2 level in French, so high intermediates. All the subjects for pronunciation, grammar, and conjugation. I will also talk about vocabulary and expression, and I will have a list of extra resources at the end to improve your reading, listening, and speaking. All the lessons I'm going to list today are available here on my channel. They are listed in my free self-study guide with all the links, checklist, calendar, practice sheet, includes everything for you to study. You just have to download it and follow the lessons. Very easy. This is how I learn English by myself as an adult, and this is how I've been teaching French for 10 years, something like that. So it does work really well. Let's start with French pronunciation. And I know what you think. Why will I learn French pronunciation? I don't even know anything or not enough about French. I always recommend learning French pronunciation first because French has very specific pronunciation rules. By learning it first, you will have a great foundation. If you don't, you will have to put in the extra work later to make up for it. Learning French pronunciation rules will help you understand how words are built. So spelling and pronunciation goes side by side in French like many languages, but you will see why pronunciation rules are very important. We have three main things to understand about French pronunciation. Group of letters make specific sounds. We have silent letters in almost every word, and we add liaison between words to make our pronunciation flows. You'll see. Let's use Lingopie, the sponsor of this video, to show you why French pronunciation is important to learn first. If you don't know what Lingopie is, it is an innovative language learning platform that combines entertainment and education. With Lingopie, you can watch TV shows, movies, and documentaries in your target language. And that's when it gets interesting. You can use the interactive subtitles to see how a word is spelled and how it sounds at the same time.
Tu l'auras.
Very useful. But let's look at one sentence in particular of a TV show here on Lingopie.
Vous savez, dans l'armée, on n'est pas très métaphore.
That was fast, wasn't it? We can choose the beginner speed, which is 0.65.
Vous savez, dans l'armée, on n'est pas très métaphore.
Much better now. Let's look at the different aspects of this sentence that we can see with pronunciation. And let's start by the sound. So I told you that two letters or more make a sound in French. So we are starting by the first word, vous. O-U make the sound ou. In the second word, we have a Z at the end, make the sound e. Third word, we have an, makes the sound en. And then we switch to on, on, make the sound on. est, make the sound e. And finally, in the last one, we have ph, in French, make the sound f. That's for the sounds. Now we also have the silent letters. In the first word, we don't pronounce the S at the end. In the third word, we don't pronounce the S at the end. In the fourth word, we don't pronounce the extra E. In pas, we don't pronounce the S. In très, we don't pronounce the S. And in the last one, we also don't pronounce the E. Now let's listen to it again, now that you know the different sound and silent letters.
Vous savez, dans l'armée, on n'est pas très métaphore.
Do you see why learning French pronunciation rules is important to understand spoken French and have a great foundation? Very important. With Lingopie, you can also repeat the pronunciation of a word as many times as you want. After your movie or your TV show, you can review the vocabulary with the flashcards. Perfect to make your practice count. You can try Lingopie for 7 days and get 55% off the annual subscription with my link. There are new content all the time, so you will never get bored. Thank you again, Lingopie, for sponsoring this part of this video. So now, to master French pronunciation, here is everything you need to learn. Starting with the French alphabet, because that's basic, right? The French accents, we have 5 different ones. Then we have silent letters, like we saw. We have contractions, is when we contract a word to make pronunciation flow, more easier, just easier. And then we have liaison, we say here, we don't say un arbre, we say un arbre, very easy. Pronunciation of e and e, there are lots. For example, un élève. Pronunciation of the nasal vowels, we have on, un bonbon, en, un an, un, le matin, and un, chacun. Pronunciation of ien and ouin, so we have un chien, loin. How French vowels change the pronunciation of a word. Un an, une année. En, année. It's all explained in the lessons. Then we have the pronunciation of the vowels and different sounds around them. So we have a, I, O, wa, u, ou, and oui. Pronunciation of I, une fille, aille, une paille, aille, une groseille, ouille, une grenouille, œil, une feuille. And finally, you will learn all the consonants and how they sometimes change, like S becoming a Z sound. Un désert, zer, okay, un désert. It's just important because when you're going to learn French, you're going to see and hear many words, you will be able to understand why this word sounds like this, and why this word does not sound the same as this one, etc., etc. Very important. Now that you know everything about French pronunciation and how words are built in French, let's start with French grammar and conjugation, 2 of my favorite things in life. We are going to start by a simple sentence, which is subject pronoun, verb, article, and a noun. Je mange une pomme. Then we're going to learn more about un, une, des, a, some in English. Je mange une pomme. Then we focus on gender and plural of nouns. Je mange des pommes. Subject pronoun, so je, tu, il, elle, just like in English. I, you, he, she, etc. Il mange une pomme. Then we have le, la, les, the in English. Il mange la pomme. Then we have another type of article, which is du, de la, des. Il mange de la pomme. De la pomme. Then we're going to jump into the present tense for all verbs. So we have, I had here in my eye. Il mange. Il mange. Mange is a verb conjugated in the present tense. We're also going to see the impersonal verbs. Il pleut. Pleuvoir is an impersonal verb. You cannot say he rains or we rain. It doesn't work, right? So that's an impersonal verb. Reflexive verbs, very specific to French and Spanish, I believe. Je me lève. Se lever. Je me lève. I get up. Then c'est, ce sont, c'est une pomme. It is an apple. This is an apple. C'est une pomme. Ce, cette, c'est. This, that, these, those. Je mange cette pomme. Cette pomme. Mon, ma, mes, my. C'est ma pomme. C'est ma pomme. How to count in French? Je mange 2 pommes. 2 pommes. Then the French negation. Je ne mange pas de pommes. Je ne mange pas de pommes. To now jump into the passé composé of all verb. That's a very fun one. J'ai mangé une pomme. J'ai mangé une pomme. Il y a, there is, there are, il y a une pomme sur la table. There's an apple on the table. Il y a une pomme sur la table. After that, we are going to learn the preposition à, de, and en. Je donne une pomme à mon frère. So it's to, it's a lot. It's a lot. It can be a lot of different things, but yeah, à mon frère. Donner à. Okay? The imperfect of all verbs, the imperfect, je mangeais. I ate, I used to eat. So that's really past. That's the old past. Then we have the recent past of all verb. Je viens de manger une pomme. I just ate an apple. Question words after that. Quand, comment, pourquoi, où, combien. Pourquoi est-ce que je mange une pomme? Pourquoi? Why? Qui, que, quoi? Who? Qui mange une pomme? Qui mange une pomme? Quel, lequel? What? Which one? Quelle pomme? Quelle pomme? What apple? Quelle pomme? French adjectives are very, very fun to learn. Those are really fun. Je mange une pomme délicieuse. Délicieuse. Je mange une pomme délicieuse. Then we have the future tense of all verbs. Je mangerai une pomme. The near future. Je vais manger une pomme. Direct object and indirect object. It's hard to add a lot of examples for this one, but if you say I eat an apple, I eat it. For us, it's je la mange. So the it is la. Je la mange. We pronounce y and en. Je mange une pomme. J'en mange une. So en. J'en mange une. So we use pronoun to not repeat a part of the sentence that we already know, right? It's same as in English, really. It's a lot, but in the end, exactly the same. Then we're going to learn all the pronouns together. No example for this one because it would be very confusing. Then the conditional for all verbs. Je mangerai une pomme. I would eat an apple. Je mangerai une pomme. The imperative of all verbs. Mange une pomme. Mange une pomme. So no order. Then we have ce qui, ce que, ce dont. Ce que je mange est une pomme. Ce que je mange est une pomme. This one is a little bit more complicated. We're definitely getting into high intermediates now. We have the infinitive of all verbs because we use infinitive verbs a lot in French. So manger, manger is an infinitive. Then we have the adverbs. Je mange toujours une pomme. Toujours is an adverb, always. French subjunctive for all verbs. People who speak Spanish here, that's going to help you a lot. Il faut que je mange une pomme. Il faut que je mange une pomme. So very specific conjugation. Then we are going to see the other tenses that we use less, but that you should still know, okay? So we have plus que parfait. J'avais mangé une pomme. Futur antérieur. J'aurais mangé une pomme. Conditionnel passé. J'aurais mangé une pomme. And participe passé et gérondif. Je regarde la télévision en mangeant une pomme. While eating. It's a very specific one. While eating. Very specific, but very easy actually. And then we have the passive voice that we use quite a lot in French when we have the subject that is, when the subject is basically, well, an apple in this case. Cette pomme se mange bien. So we add a se before the verb to say that this is the passive voice, basically. I know what you're gonna say. Wow, this is a lot of lessons. And it is, but it's quite fun, remember? It's really fun. But when you need a break, learn some vocabulary, some expression. I have the complete list of vocabulary and expression by subject, sorted in the self-study guide. You can see it all in the document. Just remember that when you need a break, just learn something else. Learn some vocabulary, learn something that is easy for you. If you watch this video, you're obviously an English speaker. English and French have so many different words that are similar. Focus on those when you need a break, just learn something easy. But you will need to supplement with reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So I gave you the part where you can self-study, but you will have to supplement with reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So let's see. Reading and listening. Reading and listening can be done by reading a book or a story and listening to the audio at the same time. Shameless plug for my storybooks, where you can download the free audio with each book so you can read and listen at the same time. This is a very great exercise because when you listen and read at the same time, you see how the word is built, you see how it's spelled, and you can hear how it sounds. So you review all the pronunciation rules that you have learned in the first part of the list. It can also be done with Lingopie, by watching TV and reading the subtitle at the same time. Depends if you're more a book person or a TV person, really. And we have speaking, which can be quite hard to practice. Basically, to work on your speaking skill, you can follow my French speaking practices here on YouTube. There are 5 steps that will give you the confidence to speak French more naturally. You can try to find someone to speak with, but for a lot of people that is a big struggle. The next point is about writing. So writing is usually the most challenging part because a lot of people struggle to just sit and write. It's something that does not come naturally when you learn a language, but you can write a short paragraph about your day, or you can also use AI like ChatGPT to write and exchange. You can write about your day with ChatGPT, you can write about your project, about French practice, you can really write about everything, and it's quite good to practice, to have an exchange. Obviously, you can't really speak to it, but to write, it's perfect. Finally, here are a few pieces of advice to keep in mind. 1 lesson a day. I find it very easy to get carried away and to want to learn a lot in one sitting, but it's really best to pace yourself with 1 lesson a day, especially when it comes to French grammar and conjugation. 1 lesson a day is best, gives your brain the time to understand what you learn and before moving to the next lesson. So yeah, 1 lesson a day is always better. Don't get overwhelmed. Take a break when you're tired of rules. I told you at the beginning, switch to vocabulary or expression, or review what you already learned. Which brings me to the next point. Reviewing is also learning. Remember that learning a language is about learning and working on remembering what you have already learned. When not used, we tend to forget what we already learned, so keep space for reviewing. Reviewing is still learning. And that's it. If you download the guide with all the lessons and put in the work, you will reach a B2 level in French. I don't have a magic recipe, but I do have a very good list of lessons that can bring you there. Please don't hesitate to share with me in the comments if there's anything else that helps you in your French learning journey. It's always good to share with others. Maybe there's something that works for you that will also work for someone. So it's always great to share in the comments. I also try to answer all the comments every couple of days now because I get a lot. But yeah, if you have a question or anything, just leave a comment and I will come back to you. That's it. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you watch until the end, maybe comment j'aime apprendre le français. J'aime apprendre le français. I love learning French. So we'll know that you watch until the end. Thank you so much and I will see you next Wednesday. À mercredi prochain.